The Old Lady and Her Secret, Chapter 1. Sarah and Tina were two friends who lived in the neighborhood of a village. They loved exploring landscapes, riding their bicycles, admiring the beautiful scenery, drawing sketches, taking photographs, and painting as well. They had a passion for adventure, nature, and art. They always looked for new places to explore, capture them, and recreate the exquisite sceneries on their canvases. One day, they decided to explore the landscape next to the forest further away from their home. They packed their bags with water, snacks, paints, pencils, brushes, sketchbooks, canvases, and cameras and set off on their adventure journey. They followed a mud road leading to a vast field of wildflowers. They stopped at the magical attraction and took pictures and draw sketches. Then they continued their journey, enjoying the breeze, the soothing and musical chirping of birds, and the warm sunlight. They soon reached a forest where found a variety of attractive wildflowers that looked inviting and magical. They looked at each other, nodded, and entered the forest, hoping to find some interesting scenery and musical sounds like the chirping of birds and the rippling noises of streams and brooks. They rode along a narrow path that wound through tall and lowering trees, admiring the lush green meadows in between, listening to the bird songs. They felt the magical ecstasy as they were in a fairy tale. However, they went deeper into the forest in a flow, and later they realized that it was a mistake. The path became more and more difficult to proceed, the overgrown bushes and vines making it hard to ride their bicycles. They turned back and tried to find the way back home, but failed due to the thick forest and overgrown vines. They started to get panic and checked their phones, but there was no signal. They looked at the sky and found the sun was setting and felt sorry for the decision. It was growing dark and they decided to stick together, hoping to find a way out of the forest before it got too dark. They broke branches of plants, cut the vines, cleared a path, and pushed their bicycles through the clearing amidst the thorny plants. Although their arms and legs got scratched and hurt by the thorny plants, they did not give up their effort. As it grew pitch dark, they looked around hoping to find some hope and noticed a small light at a distance. It looked like a firefly. They moved towards the light. They felt relieved. In a hopeful and curious state of mind, they decided to move, hoping to find someone who could help them or at least get a shelter for the night. They were tired due to the severe cold and endless efforts. They reached the source of light after a great struggle, and there they found a wooden hut which was roofed with grass. It looked very old and shabby. There was an old lady in the hut. She was sitting near a fireplace, brewing a pot of soup. Her hair was grey with wrinkled skin and bright eyes. The Old Lady and Her Secret, Chapter 2. She looked up and saw Sarah and Tina approaching her hut. A mysterious smile flashed on her lips. With a warm smile, she greeted them. "Hello, my dears. What brought you here?" she asked softly. Sarah and Tina were surprised by her friendliness. They expected her to be angry and would chase them away. "Hello, ma'am. Sorry to bother you," Sarah said politely. "We got lost in the forest while exploring the landscape and got trapped. We saw the light in your hut, which led us. We came here hoping to find some help." The old lady nodded meaningfully as if she knew everything. Oh, I see. That is unfortunate. The forest was found tricky at times. It is possible to get lost or stuck in between. With a gesture, she invited them inside. Come in and have some soup, she said softly. It is getting cold outside. Both hesitated for a moment if they could trust this old lady or not. She seemed nice and soft enough in her talks, but her eyes showed some strange brightness. As they were in the middle of nowhere, they decided to take their chances with her rather than stay outside in the dark and cold forest. Thank you so much, Tina thanked her gratefully. They kept their bicycles in a safe place and entered the hut. The hut was conveniently tidy and warm inside. There was a fireplace, a table with two chairs in a corner, a neat and comfortable bed, a cupboard, and a shelf. The shelf was full of books and a few jars of herbs. The old lady invited them to sit at the table and served them soup in clay bowls. She said cheerfully, "Enjoy." Sarah and Tina thanked her again and started having the delicious soup. The soup was made of vegetables, rice, and spices. As they ate, they were full and both felt like their spirits got lifted. The old lady asked them softly as they had their soup, "What are your names, dears?" Sarah introduced themselves. "I'm Sarah, and this is Tina." "Nice to meet you, dears. I'm Laila," the old lady said. She smiled at them warmly and said, "You have lovely names, and you are lovely too, just like me when I was young." She exhaled. "I loved exploring and painting them when I was a girl, and also have a passion for nature, its beauty, arts, and painting, just like you," and showed them a painting on the wall behind her. "This is one of my paintings I painted many years ago when I was traveling around the world." Sarah and Tina looked at the painting and at the old lady. They couldn't believe their eyes. It was a beautiful painting, as if a masterpiece portrays the lake, mountains, and trees with vibrant colors, with delicate brush strokes, and it was an expressive painting. Both are impressed by Laila's painting. "Wow, your painting is amazing," said Sarah. "You're talented," Tina said. Laila blushed and said, "Thank you. You are very kind." Laila paused. The Old Lady and Her Secret, Chapter 3. "That's all about me," Laila said. "Now let me hear about you. Can you tell me where you're from? How did you meet? What brought you here?" Sarah told as they were classmates and neighbors from childhood. Their friendship grew stronger as they shared the same passion. They joined the artists' club at their school, participated in different competitions, and together prepared for exhibitions. They both dreamed of becoming famous painters someday. Sarah's description grew admiration and interest in Laila. They discussed different aspects related to their experience in painting and different techniques and possibilities related to it. She felt happy to be with them and learn about them. They felt comfortable talking to Lila and relaxed. As they finished the soup, Lila cleared the table. She offered them some fruits. "The fruits are very tasty. Try them," she offered cheerfully. They enjoyed the sweet taste. They enjoyed the comfortable atmosphere and conversation with Lila. They were talking about topics such as nature, travel, art, and so they felt they had a lot in common among them. They could not feel the age difference in Lila's talk. Her bright eyes were glittering as she talks about her passion, just like an excited girl. Sarah and Tina listened and noticed the changes with great eagerness. Lila's interest and experience in travel around the world, different cultures and people, different art forms or adventures, and her knowledge and wisdom surprised them a great deal. They were fascinated by Lila's ideas and her friendship. They forgot their worries and felt safe with Lila for a while. As they were talking, they noticed some strange things around. A bangle with a star on her wrist, a ring with a moon-carved stone on her ring finger, and a necklace with a pendant of the sun on her neck. They also noticed some books of magic on her shelves. There were some symbols and signs carved on the walls, doors, and windows of her heart. They panicked at the sight and thought of Lila hiding something from them. Felt like she was more than an old lady. Sarah felt curious about the fascinating and mysterious personality of Lila, as well as the things she found there, like a necklace, ring, bangle, books, and herbs. She wondered if Lila was a magician who is full of wonders and surprises. Meanwhile, Tina was suspicious and thought Lila was a weird and dangerous person with hidden agendas or a criminal. She ignored the necklace, ring, bangle, books, and herbs she saw. The hut seemed very scary for her. They tried to hide their feelings as they did not want to ruin their friendship with Lila. Instead, pretended to be indulged in their conversation. Lila sensed their thoughts and decided to reveal her secret. She looked at them, paused for a moment, then smiled and said, "Dears, I must tell you something." The Old Lady and Her Secret, Chapter 4. Sarah and Tina looked at Lila with eagerness and curiosity. "Sure, go ahead," Sarah said. Taking a deep breath, Lila paused for a moment and said, "I'm not what you see. I'm not old, but a young girl just like you." Sarah screamed, "What?" Tina asked, "How?" Laila said, "Many years ago, I explored this forest with my best friend Leah. We loved nature, art, travel, and adventure like you. That ended up before this hut, which belonged to a witch. Not knowing that, we decided to get inside and were fascinated by the books and jars on the shelf and the signs and symbols on the walls. Without knowing the hut was full of magic and danger, we examined each thing on the shelf. We felt something strange in our bodies. We looked at each other and screamed at our appearance. We turned into two old women." She paused for a while, sighed before continuing. "We tried to escape from here, but were locked inside by the witch's magic key. We were trapped in here without hope of rescue." Leah died a few years later in despair. I left alone and never thought I would ever see the outside world or anyone else until you came here. She smiled desperately. They felt sorry for Lila, for what she had gone through. They couldn't even imagine such a thing in their life. "That's terrible," Tina said. "I'm so sorry." Sarah expressed her grief. Lila shook her head. She said, "Don't be sorry," she said. "You gave me hope, which I lost long ago. I'm grateful for that." She reached for her necklace that had a pendant of a sun. "This is the key to the spell. The witch told that once the sun, moon, and stars align, the spell can be broken." She pointed at the bangle, showed them the star. She looked at Sarah and Tina and told, "Actually, you are the stars here." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked in confusion. Lila said, "The witch told me one day you will meet someone who has a pure heart and bright soul, who shares your passion for art and nature, and who is bright as stars will help me break the spell. That bright soul is you." Sarah and Tina felt honored by Lila's words. "Really?" Tina asked. "Yes, you are the ones helping me get free from the magical spell," Lila said. Sarah and Tina nodded in anticipation. "Of course we will," Sarah and Tina said together. "We are friends now. We are eager to meet your true self." Lila hugged them together. "Thank you so much." Then she let go of them and led them to the door. She wore the necklace and opened the hut with it. They together went out to the open meadow and ride their bikes and spent it having fun till night. There was a full moon in the sky. They saw a shooting star in the sky. Lila pointed to it and said, "The sun, the moon, and the stars are aligned. Let's hold together." She stretched her hands to Sarah and Tina. They held Lila's hand and formed a circle with her. The next second they felt a tingling sensation in their bodies, as if they were filled with power. They heard a loud crack. The Old Lady and Her Secret, Chapter 5. They opened their eyes and looked at each other. To their surprise, they could not find Lila there instead, a beautiful and radiant young girl in her place. She had beautiful long hair, smooth skin, and bright eyes. She looked like a star. She screamed. It worked. She hugged both with great excitement and said, "Thank you, dears. Thank you very much." They hugged her back and said, "You're welcome." They looked at each other with excitement. They could not believe their eyes. They had broken the spell. They felt happy and proud of the miracle. The forest has changed. It was no longer dark and gloomy, but bright and colorful. The trees were lush green with blooming flowers. There were fragrance everywhere, birds singing and flying. The forest looked beautiful. At that moment they heard a voice, "Well done, well done." To their surprise there was standing a witch at the door of the hut, with a broomstick and with a scary look. She had long and fuzzy hair, wrinkled and pale skin, and wicked and dark eyes. They felt like they were in a nightmare. She walked towards them and smiled. She clapped her hands and said, "I'm impressed. I'm impressed. You have passed my test and proven yourself worthy." Sarah and Tina were shocked. They felt angry at the thought of how the witch had tricked them. She had set up the whole thing as a test. The witch trapped and locked them into the hut and gave them clues to break the spell. She was playing with them for her own amusement. Both glared at her and exclaimed, "What? A test?" The witch said, "Yes, of course. I'm a witch. I like to test people. I want to see how they react to different situations. I admire those who have courage, wisdom, kindness, and other such qualities." She pointed to Lila and said, "Lila was my test subject, who got my admiration. Her passion for nature and art, her wisdom and bright soul add charm to her. I liked her very much that I kept her as my apprentice. I taught her everything about magic. She became my daughter." The Old Lady and Her Secret, Chapter 6. She pointed to the bangle on her wrist and said, "This is the mark of our bond." Lila looked at them with guilt and regret, nodded and said, "It's true. She taught me everything. She became my mother. I forgot everything about my past, my real family and friends." Then she apologized to them. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not telling you the truth." Sarah and Tina felt sorry for Lila. They realized how she had been manipulated by the witch and told her, "It's okay, it's okay. We understand. We are still friends." They hugged Lila. With a grateful smile, Lila said, "Thank you for being my friends." The witch continued, "I saw you two coming to the forest on your bikes. I wanted to see if you were like Lila or not. So I decided to test you. I tested and found that you have shared her passion for nature and art. You have courage, kindness, wisdom, and other qualities that I admire." She pointed to her necklace with a pendant of the sun on her neck and said, "This is the key to my heart. It's also part of the spell. Only when the sun, the moon, and the stars align, the spell will be broken." She looked at them with a sly smile and continued, "If you agree to join me as my apprentices, I will give you the keys and you can escape from the forest. I will teach you everything that I know, and you will be my daughters." She held out the necklace to them. Sarah and Tina looked at each other with surprise and disbelief. They realized the trap the witch was putting forward. She only cared about her own power and amusement, and she wanted to keep them as her prisoners to use them for her own purposes. They shook their heads and refused her offer. "No, thank you," Sarah said. "We're not interested." Tina continued. The witch frowned and withdrew her necklace. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Yeah, sure," Tina said. "We don't want to be your apprentices or your daughters," Sarah said. "Very well, it's your choice, but don't say I didn't warn you," she said with an irritated voice. A gust of wind blew them away from her heart. They landed on their bikes. They saw that the forest had returned to its dark and gloomy state. Flowers were withered and there were no birds. They heard her laugh wickedly behind them. Sarah and Tina felt scared but realized that they had escaped one danger and faced another. They felt hopeless and sad. They wondered if they would ever accomplish their dreams someday. Still, they were determined and brave. They decided to stick together and try hard to find a way out of the forest. They had each other, and their kindness, wisdom, and courage were enough for them. They smiled at each other, cheered up, and said, "Let's go." They rode their bicycles through the forest, believing they could make it out of the forest one day. They didn't lose hope, and thus they did it. The Old Lady and Her Secret, Chapter 7. Sarah and Tina felt a surge of compassion as they rushed forward. They thought about how Lila was suffering under the witch's spell and stopped their bicycles for a moment. They looked at each other and Sarah said, "Let's find a way to help Lila get back her memories of her family and friends." Tina said, "I think I have an idea. Let's go back." They went back to Lila's hut. Lila was there in the hut worrying. She felt excited as she saw Sarah and Tina back. She rushed towards them and hugged them with pleasure. Tina asked Lila to show them her painting. Lila took the painting and handed over it to Sarah. Tina photographed it and returned it. Tina hugged Lila and said, "Don't worry, Lila. You're not alone. We will be there for you. We will return once we find out who you are, which family you belong to, or where you were studying before travel. Once we could bring back your memory, you could break free from the witch's spell." They waved at her with courage and strong determination. They tried hard and succeeded in getting out of the forest. Once they reached home, they shared Lila's painting on social media, school forums, and all the online groups they knew and watched closely every comment. 2 days passed by, but they could not find or get any comments or inquiries from Lila's friends or colleagues. One day they noticed a comment which says, Hey Laila, you painted the scenery? It reminded me of our camping trip and how you photographed this wonderful scenery. But I could not meet you or contact you after the trip. Here's my contact number. Please contact me. Miss you, Ashley. Sarah and Tina met Ashley, who was living in a nearby village. Tina told Ashley, "We found this painting in a restaurant in a remote village, and out of curiosity, we photographed it and posted it on social media. We are eager to meet the painter that we contact you." Ashley felt happy and told them everything she knew about Lila and helped them meet Lila's friends and family. They visited Lila's friends and family and collected every detail about Lila, her parents, and her friends with photographs. Then they visited Lila, showed her photographs of her family and friends, and told her every story they heard about her. Lila could not remember anything at all. She vaguely stared at those photographs. She recalled every detail Sarah and Tina told her about her family and tried to figure it out, but failed. The witch was seeing all this from a distance. She had lived in this forest for a long time lonely. She never had seen true friendship or love. She grew bitter and cruel. She used her magic to trap and torment people who trespassed on her domain. For her, everyone was selfish and evil. When she saw Sarah and Tina and Lila, something stirred in her heart. She was amazed at the courage, love, and kindness they showed to risk their lives to help Lila. They made her laugh and smile. She had forgotten to do so for a long period. They reminded her what it meant to be human and made her change herself. She let go of the hatred and cruelty she had wasted her life with. She decided to set Lila free and let her go, hoping she would find happiness with her parents and friends. Well done, well done. Suddenly the witch's voice rang in their ears. What brought you here again, dears? Did you two decide to be my daughters? The witch asked. Sarah said, Of course not. We are here for Lila. We want to set her free. The witch was amused at their courage and was impressed and said, Okay, dears, I love her as my own daughter. Now I will let her remember her past, and if she has to go, she can go home. Also, I allow you all to visit this wonderful place at any time in the future. Lila got her memories back, and she felt sad at the thought of her parents and friends and how they miss her. Lila hugged them together and said, Thank you so much. She looked at the witch, dashed towards her, and embraced her tightly. She felt deep love towards her for the care she received from her and grief that she missed her parents. Sarah and Tina were stunned at the sight. The witch made the forest colorful and lively once again. The next morning the witch sent them back home. She watched them leave and hoped that they would visit her someday and they would be her friends too. She felt a pang of sadness and a glimmer of hope for the future. The end. Thank you.